Coming up, we have stories about asking for a death certificate to prove that the loved one actually passed away. Friends warning friends to leave boyfriends and won't tell them why. Husband wanting one last fun night before they have kids. I know that story's hot right now, so I know a lot of you have probably heard it, but Dusty has not. Moving in with your boyfriend and doesn't go well. And demanding to get something back that you only loaned to someone. That's kind of give it back. And not giving someone something they demand. I guess we have a lot of stories about demanding. We have a lot of entitled people coming up.
Returning and not returning and giving and the sharing and the having and the holding.
Poor Caden Thunder's going to edit this and he's going to be like, what is wrong with you?
All that and more coming up. Hey there, it is Dusty Thunder with another story for you. This one is, am I the astronaut for asking a student for a death certificate? I'm a math instructor at a community college. My course is graded on 4 components: attendance, a project, a midterm, and a final. This situation concerns one student, Bethany. Early in the semester, Bethany emailed me to say that her grandmother had died suddenly. She asked for a 2-week extension on her project and a 1-week exemption from attendance to grieve. I immediately granted her those accommodations, no questions asked. Fast forward to a bit later in the semester, the day before the midterm, Bethany emailed me again and told me that her cousin had died in an accident. Once again, she asked for a 1-week exemption from attendance to grieve and if she could take the midterm in 2 weeks instead. And once again, I granted her those accommodations. However, the main issue arose a few weeks ago. Bethany emailed me telling me that her grandfather passed away and asking once again if she could take the final 2 weeks from its scheduled date, which would be after the semester ended, and be exempt from attendance for the rest of the semester.
That's like 6 weeks.
Yeah, if that's all actually happening, wow, that's a lot. This is when I started becoming suspicious. Obviously, I know it's possible for 3 family members to pass within the span of a few months, but it's highly unlikely. And I've heard of things like this happening before, where students lie to their professors to get extensions. Also, if I accepted her story, I'd have to convert the final to an online format and proctor it during my break, which I really didn't want to do. I wanted to make sure Bethany was telling the truth, so I emailed her back saying that I was sorry for her loss, but that I would need a death certificate or an obituary for verification. If she provided that, I would be more than willing to grant her the accommodations. Bethany emailed back and said she didn't have either of those because her grandfather lived in another country and she doesn't have access to them. I told her that unfortunately, without some verification, I can't grant her the accommodations and she'd still need to attend the lecture and take the final on its scheduled date. She never responded and ended up taking the final when she was supposed to. I was talking about the situation with my sister over Christmas, and she immediately started telling me off. She said that it's cruel to ask a student to provide proof of death and force them to be away from their family when they're grieving. She also said that even if Bethany is lying, she's clearly struggling with something, and I should have responded with kindness. I said that I've been as lenient as I could have been. I already gave her extensions and excused her absences. Also, Bethany's never attended office hours or asked for extra help, so if she was floundering, she had options she chose not to take. My sister wouldn't hear it and kept saying how she couldn't believe I was this heartless. But I don't think it's heartless to want to ensure the student isn't lying to get a leg up. Was I really the asshole? Okay. This is going to require some further discussion. We do have a top comment, though. Let's go into that. Top comment, I had a guy on my team in the call center who called out because his mom died. I got a report from HR and did a little double take. Little did he know, I knew his mom. We were in the same bowling league. Next bowling night, I saw her there and went over to offer my condolences for her untimely death. She was mad as F and told me she'd take care of it and asked if I would hold off on escalating it to a firing. She drove him to work and walked him in the doors every shift for about 2 months. He was 22 years old. LOL. Would literally park in the car, get out and walk to the front doors and hand him a lunch bag, then tell him to be good and that she loved him. The smokers hanging out by the front door found it hilarious every single time. That's mom. Like, that's hilarious. That is hilarious. Like, you earned it. Like, you earned it. And I know this happens. People do this, right? People will make up excuses to get out of doing things. This wasn't getting out of it. It was buying time, right? And even if you're buying time with a lie, all you're getting is time. You still have to face this. But when it got to the point where she was going to cause her professor enough pain to have to do something like proctoring the test over break, like that's when it's like, okay, there is a cost. There is a cost to allowing this now, so it's harder to grant. Also, this being the third time, it does raise some of these, right? It raises a few of those. If I put myself in the professor's shoes and this happened 3 times within a couple of months of happening, I'd be suspicious, but I don't know that my first reaction would be to ask her for proof of death. I think my first reaction would be to talk amongst my colleagues and be like, hey, does anyone else have this student in class? Or to ask her to get with either who her advisor is and you talk to the advisor, or have some kind of support dove in here that wasn't an immediate, like, you got to prove it this time. I don't know if I would want to risk being that big of an asshole, because it could have been an asshole move. But you can find an obituary overseas. You could find an obituary anywhere and just like send them a link. You're done. The fact that she just immediately was like, I have no proof of anything, and then shut up about it, and then showed up and took the test when she was supposed to take the test. What do you get from that? Katie, yeah, saying that they didn't want to proctor the test made it a bit selfish, but well, here's where I'm at on that. He was lenient 2 times. And it was easy to be lenient those 2 times, right? There was no additional harm for her to turn those things in late. If it happens to where the bleed over is after the end of semester, that is causing extra pain, and that is costing him time, right? That's he's not going to be compensated more for that time, so it's literally going to be costing him something. And you have to be more critical at that time and say, okay, the fact that this is happening for the 3rd time and the pain associated with this one is so much greater means I have to be more critical of it. I just don't know that I would have done what he did, but I still don't think he's the asshole for it. I'm going NTA. I don't blame him for his reaction here. I mean, it is pretty fishy, and it would have been really easy for her to provide, like, asking for a death certificate, I think was dumb. Send me an obituary. Getting your hands on a death certificate is not going to be that easy, right? Like, you'd have to go to the closest family member, whoever's handling all that paperwork side of things, and be like, yeah, can I get a copy of that? I need it for my professor. I find a fake one online. Somebody with the last name, or make one online. And I feel like if it was legit, I don't know. I just can't imagine like asking for an extension 3 times in a row. Also, I want to talk to this student and be like, you realize you're not accomplishing anything. Like punting, kicking the can. You're just buying yourself more time to what's the word I'm looking for? Procrastinate. That's it. You're buying more time to procrastinate, and that's all you're doing. And this is a pattern where, like, what you're supposed to be learning in college, which is really learning to learn and learning to deal with deadlines, you're not learning here. You're robbing yourself of the point of going to school by doing this. And that's a behavior pattern that I, as an employer, would not appreciate. Oh, dang. Dustin Cushman, I had a student over the summer tell me that she thought she dropped the class, freaked out when she didn't, wanted to turn everything in last minute. Guess who begged to be in my class this semester? Huh. And turned everything in the last day. She gets an F. You thought you dropped one and didn't do it? Oh, no. Oh, no. Was your Professor Cushman? The timing, yeah, I've seen some comments in here where, like, it's odd where every time she has a test coming up, a family member passes. This is sus. It's sus.
I think that
I'll warm him up.
It was really nice of him to not question like the first 2 times, and like for her to ask for 2 weeks of like additional time on a project. That's a lot of time in college. But I do think whether or not the deaths actually happened, I think that whoever it was, the student, I think asking for a specific amount of time, each time asking for this specific amount of time is what makes me think that maybe the first death was actually something that happened. And then when it worked and she got more time, I say that as a master procrastinator because I procrastinate really bad.
No.
But I think once it worked the first time, I'm not sure if the second 2 were actually deaths. That's my take, and I could be totally wrong. But I think asking for that specific amount of time each time is
even
odd.
More sus.
It's odd. Yeah, it's sus.
It's sus. So maybe there was one that was a real one, but at least one of these is not, and I think that's where it comes in.
And if I was a college professor, I wouldn't want to come in on my break and do this either. So I would have maybe given her the extra time to turn in the project and then said, you still have to take the final on this day. But I don't know.
How would
It's pretty ballsy to do it 3 times.
It is.
To ask for that much time each time.
As an employer, I mean, you would at this point request some kind of proof as well, but it would just be like an obituary.
This is like my friend that used to say that she had to go to the bathroom like every class period with this one teacher, and she would be gone for like 10 minutes. And she would always say that it was because it was her time of the month. And then one time he looked at her and said, well, that's not accurate, or you need to go to the doctor because that's what you used. Like it was like 10 days ago. And he's like, and said something to her, and because she did it all the time. And I was like, at least a different excuse.
I just don't understand.
Yeah.
I just don't understand. Hey there, it is Dusty Thunder once again with another story for you. This one is, my friends 25 female are warning me to leave my boyfriend 27 male together of 1 year, but won't tell me why. Am I missing something? OP's 25 female, boyfriend's 27 male, they've been together 1 year. The following dialogues are non-verbatim, but I made it just so you get the point. Hi, I, 25 female, have been dating my boyfriend, 27 male, for about a year, and I thought everything was going great, or at least from my perspective. He's charming, attentive, and we have so much fun together. But lately, my friends have been acting really weird about him. They started dropping subtle comments like, "Are you sure you're happy?" Or, "You know we're here for you, right?" It feels like they're trying to hint at something, but whenever I ask them outright, they just shrug it off or change the subject. Recently, one of my closest friends told me, "I think you should get out of this relationship before it gets worse." But she refused to give me a reason. She just said, "I can't tell you right now, but you'll see eventually." If I was in a relationship with somebody and my friends were saying that, I'd be like, "Bitch, tell me now, because this isn't cool. This is not what you do to friends. You don't tell a friend something like that and then be like, just wait, and all will be revealed." Huh? Shoot the messenger?
Blame the messenger.
Well, at this point, they're not giving you a message. They're like, "I have a message that will be revealed eventually." I'm like, no. It's like your partner saying, "Hey, I really want to talk to you about this." "Oh, never mind." The same kind of like, "Oh, you got to talk about it now. It's important enough to talk about. Let's talk about it." I feel stuck because I don't know what they're seeing. Sure, my boyfriend has his flaws, like he's a bit controlling about how I spend my time. For example, he doesn't like it when I go out with my friends without him, or will call or text me constantly to check in. Oh, there it is. That wasn't hard to find at all.
That's a big flaw.
Yeah, that's a big flaw. Yeah. Sure, he's a little controlling of my time, like completely. If I don't reply right away, he gets upset and accuses me of ignoring him. He also doesn't really like my friends and will say things like, "I just don't think they're good for you," or "They're jealous of what we have." He also made some concerning comments about my appearance. He'll tell me I don't need to wear makeup or dress up because I'm already his. And if I push back, he gets defensive and says he's just being honest. He even threw out a few of my favorite outfits once, saying they didn't fit the new me.
That's not a little controlling. That's controlling.
OP's like, "I don't see what they're seeing. Here's what's happening.
My clothes away.
Here's what's happening." Oh, the Stockholm Syndrome has already set in then, has it? Another thing that's been bothering me is how he handles money. He insists on paying for most things, which seemed generous at first, but now he uses it against me. If we argue, he'll bring up how much he's done for me financially, making me feel guilty. He's even asking me to quit my job because he can take care of everything, but I love my job and don't want to give it up. Okay. I don't know what your friends could possibly be seeing here. This is fine. The other day, he went through my phone while I was in the shower, claiming he was just curious because I've been acting distant. He wasn't even acting weird, but he said it like I had something to hide. He apologized later, but now I feel like I have to walk on eggshells to avoid upsetting him. And what would you do? What would he do if you upset him? When it's just us, he's sweet and loving. He talks about our future together and he's been there when I'm upset, but my friends' reactions and his behavior have me second-guessing everything. Am I overthinking this? Are my friends overreacting? Or is there something I'm too blinded by love to see? I don't know what to do, and their silence is starting to make me anxious. Any advice would be appreciated. We do have a part 2 update on this, but What? I want to bring Candy Thunder up here before we start into part 2, because my position on this right now is obviously you're being manipulated and controlled, and he's trying to make further grabs for other areas to control you with, right? He wants to control you. This is not love. This is control. He views you as property. He doesn't respect anything about you. That's why he's trying to isolate you, right? And if this escalates further, and if at any point you buck his control, you could be in real danger. This feels like it's fueled by some extreme insecurity on his part, and you need to run. Like, run. And be ready to create a restraining order at any point in time, because you're probably going to need it. What are you seeing here, Candy Thunder?
A list of red flags a mile long. She's like, he's great and so attentive and loving, but here's this list of crap that he does that proves that he's a complete narcissistic asshole. But he loves me. That's not love. That is not love. That's manipulation. And there's a fine line for some people that don't understand love and use it as a manipulation tactic, and that's what he's doing to her.
If someone is starved of attention enough, could control be confused with love because it is attention? I mean, I guess it could. If somebody's focused on you, right? They're giving you attention. It's not the right kind, but you don't know the difference. It's attention.
Right. She's and then like she said, love is blind. Love is completely blind. And I have no doubt that this guy love bombed the hell out of her in the beginning to get her to fall for him. And I think when people do that, you immediately fall for them, and you fall hard. So you're willing to overlook all these tiny things that they do that add up to a million red flags. So you don't see them because you're so concentrated on the fact that they're love bombing you in the beginning, and then that love bombing will fade, and this will emerge. Which is why I think some people, and I'm trying to understand it better, but some people say, the red flags don't show up till later. And maybe they're there, but maybe you're so blinded by love and you're not able to see it clearly, because love does blind. Love makes you, like, I'm sure I have flaws that he wouldn't necessarily love, but you don't see them. You overlook them. Like me clearing my throat 100 times a day for the past week.
You've been sick.
I know.
When I hold that, I like how it's that.
So gross.
That's
it's so
the
gross.
thing.
So gross.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's not like your closet looks like it vomited on itself with clothes. Like,
excuse me?
Are
you going to go down a list of my flaws?
It's how I've been sick for the past. No, obviously not. No, and I love everything about you.
He accepts me for who I am.
Yeah. They're trying to get OP to see it, because if they point it out, she might lash out on them because she doesn't see it as a problem. He has his claws into her too deep. I agree.
He really does.
He does. But here's like the silver lining, and perhaps way out of this, is that she at least says, like, I love him. I think he's great, except for, and she acknowledges these things. She sees them. She just doesn't think they're as big of a deal as the rest of the world right now, but she does see them. And I feel like at some point, if she's completely controlled, she won't even see that.
I've actually not read part 2. I read part 1, and I saw that there was a part 2, and I wanted it to be a surprise. But this part 1 was enough for me to go ahead and paste part 2. So
we'll dive into it.
Yep.
We'll dive into it. All right, here we go. Part 2. First, I want to thank everybody who commented on my original post. Your insights and support gave me the clarity and courage to address the situation. After reading the overwhelming responses about the red flags I had missed, I decided to have a serious conversation with my boyfriend, 27 male. Here's how that went. We were at his apartment when I brought it up and told him I wanted to talk about some things that had been bothering me. And I mentioned how I'd been feeling uneasy about certain behaviors, like his constant texting when I'm out with friends, the comments about my clothes, and him going through my phone. At first, he tried to downplay it, saying things like, I just care about you, or I'm only trying to protect you. And we're right back there to red flag land. When I told him that his actions didn't feel protective but controlling, he got defensive. He said, if you didn't have anything to hide, you wouldn't feel that way. That hit me hard because it was just the same justification he used when he snooped through my phone. I explained that trust shouldn't require constant surveillance, but he just rolled his eyes and said I was being dramatic. Right out of the playbook. Right out of the playbook. I also brought up the comment his nephew made about my scarf and how he dismissed it. I told him it hurt when he didn't take my feelings seriously. He responded by saying, "You're too sensitive. He's just a kid. Let it go." I don't know what that comment was about, but it was something. That was when I realized that he consistently invalidates my feelings, whether it's about his behavior or anyone else's. The conversation took a darker turn when I mentioned how isolated I had been feeling from my friends. I told him they'd been concerned about me and that their comments made me reflect on our relationship. His immediate reaction? Anger. He said, "Of course your friends don't like me. They've been trying to turn you against me since day one." He even accused them of being jealous of our relationship.
Oh, I bet he did. They're not jealous of that train wreck, dude.
They're jealous of what we have. They really want to be one of my prisoners too. But I can only break one prisoner at a time, ladies. Just stand in line. When I brought up how he threw away my clothes without asking, he doubled down, saying, "I was just helping you look better. You didn't need those anyway." He couldn't understand why it was wrong to take control of something so personal without my consent. By the end of the conversation, it became painfully clear that he wasn't willing to take accountability for any of his actions. Instead, he shifted the blame onto me or my friends. The more I pushed for answers, the more his mask slipped, and I could see how manipulative he had been all along. After everything, I told him I needed space to think. He got upset and said, "If you leave now, don't expect me to wait around for you." That felt like emotional blackmail, and it confirmed what so many of you pointed out. He's abusive and controlling. I'm now staying with a friend and figuring out how to end things safely. It's hard because part of me still remembers the good moments we had, but I know now that I deserve better. Thank you all for helping me see the truth. I feel like we need another update from OP that just says, "I'm safe." You know what I mean? Because somebody who has almost total control of another person, when they lose it in an instant, typically don't react well. There's always another grab, or if they don't find someone else to control immediately, there's this thirst for it, right? And you talk about constant surveillance. I hope he doesn't know where this friend lives. You've got to think about all the possible reactions a person like this could take and at least plan for them. At least have some kind of defense in mind, because somebody who is this controlling, when control is ripped away from them, suddenly there's going to be a lash out. Quinn says, I was worried she would stay. I was too, but there was the part where she at least recognized those things. And then it seems that you Reddit commenters were like, "Hey, those things are not okay things. Like, you should take these all seriously." And her friends, I understand where they're coming from, being, they had made mention before, and then she said in the beginning that they wouldn't tell her what it was, but they did make comments about him controlling her and him messaging all the time or not letting her come out with him. So they had made some comment, but couldn't come out and be like, "Girl, you're a prisoner." Because somebody who's in that situation probably can't handle hearing that. Just, there has to be some kind of outside input or some kind of, I don't know, multitude of feedback from somebody who's not too close to it to give that information. Tater, what do you think?
I think I had someone ask this, why didn't you, and I think we've talked about this before, but they said, why didn't you tell me when I was in it? And I think, in my opinion, I think the friends planted a seed of doubt that gave her the tools to discover more on her own. Because when you try to tell someone who's in a relationship like this, when they're being controlled, when they're being manipulated, when they're being gaslit by someone, when you try to tell them what is going on and like what you're seeing, you run the risk of becoming the enemy to them and solidifying them as a couple even more, which would put them further into the grasp of the person who is abusing them. So her friends not specifically spelling it out, and again, this is just my opinion, but I think it did her a favor because it made her want to discover more on her own. It made her dig deeper into her relationship to find out what it is that they were talking about, what it is that it could possibly be, and for her to discover that on her own without people telling her, she was able to see it better. But then she went to the internet, got validation from strangers that what she was seeing is actually huge red flags, and was able to actually see it in the light of day. And that's what I feel like happened, but I honestly don't know.
If you Like if you have a friend in that kind of situation, and I know what you're talking about, where afterward you get the why didn't you tell me? It's like you can't tell somebody then because they are blinded by it.
They're not ready to receive that information because all you're going to do is make yourself the villain in that moment by telling them.
Yeah.
And when they come to you, and they will, like with the problems that are happening in the relationship and why is it unraveling? Why is this person treating me this way? There's your moment to talk to them about what you see and because they're open to receiving that information because they know that something is wrong. But I think there's so many people that try to tell people like, hey, this is happening in your relationship. You're not seeing it. And I would just like to know how many times that actually helps that person, or does it do more damage?
Well, I think as the friend in that situation, the friend acknowledges the risk involved. And that's why people don't speak up. It's like I have to risk my friendship with you in order to try to save you. It's a Kobayashi Maru because either and planting seeds is the only play that makes sense here because there is too much risk involved with that culture shock for somebody, or that shock or the shock of rejection, really, of it being so opposite their worldview. I don't know, just it's a tough spot to be in, being the friend or somebody you're close to going through that.
Yeah, I agree. And it causes the people around you to worry, but they kind of feel powerless to do something. And I think the fact that and we've talked about this a lot, but the fact that this guy's behavior stems from not understanding, unconditional love and knowing what love is, and thinking that love is control, and thinking that love is this or whatever it is that he thinks that he's doing. It sucks because it does not. People don't have to treat people like this in order to be in a relationship, and people don't have to lean into that narcissism and control to be in a relationship. But some people just don't understand it, and I think that's the saddest thing of all. Yeah. But I'm so glad that she got out. She was able to see it for what it is and was able to get out.
Is it? I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of
exactly, Leslie.
There's
gentle
a lot of
nudges, and I think that's what her friend did. They gently nudged her into discovering the truth on her own. So while in the first part, I felt like it seemed like the friends were being shitty by not telling her.
Yeah.
And maybe they had spoken up before and it wasn't received well. But I do think that it was a gentle nudge.
Well, they definitely had a friend meeting because they were kind of unified in their approach, so they had a plan, which I deeply appreciate. And I know that there are a lot of ways that a human-like boyfriend can get the way he is. It's still like the extreme insecurity of feeling like you have to control somebody to be worthy of their love, because if they have any kind of interaction with the outside world, they're going to love you, or they're going to leave you, or they're going to cheat on you, they're going to wrong you. Like controlling somebody is not the way to prevent that. Like loving them is, but they don't. But they've been hurt so badly before, or the model they had for what love should be was so poor that they end up mistreating people like this, and it's terrible.
I know.
That's terrible.
It makes, and someone said that Sabrina, my sister is being horribly gaslit, and my gentle nudges aren't working.
Maybe they will someday. Those are seeds, right? I
know, and it's so, what this guy was doing to her was that's like surface level. Like he hadn't got into the meat and potatoes of this yet. Like she got out before it got even worse, and I don't know. I hope that your sister is able to see it eventually.
Yeah.
But I would just monitor the situation, and be there for her when she comes to you for advice. And that's your moment to really talk to her and gently talk to her. Because at the end of the day, like when you talk to someone that's in that, they still love that person. Like they still want the best for them. And so when you attack that person, it feels like you're attacking them. And this is my experience. I'm not sure what it is for everyone. But so when you speak badly about the person that they're in love with, it feels like an attack on that person. And it makes them defensive instead of open to receiving the information that you're communicating.
Right.
And that's, again, this is personal experience on my end. So, and it may be different for other people.
What is like,
I'm happy you love me.
Terribly what a terribly tough situation. I mean, there's and it's going on all around you too, but getting people to see it and then take action. And maybe, maybe that's the wrong angle. Maybe the angle, yes, that needs to happen, but maybe the angle we as a people need to be taking is prevent people from getting to the point where they feel like they have to control somebody in the first place. Because what's going to happen here is, yes, she got out. Maybe the next girl won't. Because he's going to go start grooming another one.
Yep.
Maybe, I don't know. It's sad. Hey there, it is Dusty Thunder once again with another story for you. This one is my husband, 30 male, wants to go on a trip to have one last fun night before we try for kids, saying my past wrongs is the reason. What do I do? 29 female. One last fun night, meaning, okay. My husband, 30 male and 29 female, I have been together since high school. A year into the relationship, regrettably, I cheated. I was stupid and regretted the whole thing, so I told my husband, boyfriend at the time, the day right after. Now, I'm not saying that me coming out clean makes things easier or better. It didn't. I begged him to forgive me and to stay. For a year and a half, we were not together. And after 6 months, we decided to try and restart our relationship. It took a lot of work and was definitely hard getting through the first few years. But after healing years later, we married happily. Now we are 6 years married and planning to try for a kid next year. After the terrible ordeal at the start of our dating relationship, we have figured out how to communicate with each other and have built trust. So I don't know if this is because we have such great communication that he expressed this to me. Before we have a child, he says he wants to go on a trip to have one fun night. Mind you, he said something a bit more vulgar, but we have potty mouths naturally. He used my former mistake as the reason that he deserves it somehow. So him wanting to have one fun night is wanting to have a hall pass. He's wanting a pass to go cheat.
She cheated in high school.
And he forgave her.
That's a big...
And he forgave her. And this isn't even before they're getting married. They're already married. This is just before they have kids.
No. High school is for me.
Tell you right now, OP, you shouldn't be having a kid with this guy. Don't do it.
He's already got some. He wouldn't ask if he didn't.
That's true. Candy Thunder says he's already got somebody. He wouldn't ask if he didn't already have a plan in his mind. Blech. Now I just did this thing doing the dishes speechless. Like, where did all my good communication go in that moment? Because I did not know how to tell him how much I hated that idea. Obviously, I'm desperately in love with this man, and he has been everything to me. Telling me to leave him right off the bat is not advice. Telling me to get what I deserve is not advice. I need help or courage or both to tell him that. How do I approach it? How do I say I don't like it? How do you say no? This may just be my anonymous rant because I'm too scared to tell my best friend or therapist, so here I am, telling strangers. OP said in the comments that she confirmed that she cheated in high school. So that was high school. That was high school. They separated for a while, then got back together, then worked on their communication, got to a really healthy spot, got married, and now they're ready to try for a kid. Except hubby here is like, hold on, before we officially start trying for a kid, I really want to put it in something else before I officially, have a child with you. That is the dumbest shit I have ever heard. And that just says to me, like, okay, either somebody outside is already enticing him and it's working, and this was just a trigger moment for him to be able to say, oh, it might work now. Now I might be able to cash in that card I feel like I had from a long time ago. Never mind the fact that I forgave you. BT Dubs, he never forgave you. He put it in his pocket to cash in later, i.e. now. In OP, you can say, like, leave him is not advice. It is, because this is much bigger than this one request. And I think that's what I need you to hear. This is much bigger than that one request. And if I would tell you anything to talk to him about, if you do have great communication, it starts with, hey, I'm really curious why you feel the need. And also why you feel like something that happened in high school and you forgave me for warrants this. I really need to hear your explanation of this, and let him spell it out. And he's probably going to put his foot in his mouth and reveal more of what is actually going on here. But I don't think you needing the courage to stand up to him and tell him how much you hate the idea is what needs to happen here. I think he knows how much you hate the idea. He knows how dumb this is. He knows. He just doesn't care. That's the part you need to address here. You know this is hurtful. You know this is wrong. Why is this even a thing? Why is this a conversation? What has happened that led you to this moment? What gave you the gumption to be like, hey, I'd like to do this? What has you all of a sudden interested in cheating? By the way, he can't be suddenly interested in cheating and suddenly ready to take on the lifelong commitment of having a child with you simultaneously. Those things are mutually exclusive. I mean, I guess it can, but it's not okay. A girl might be chirping in his ear. Faith reacts. She wants to be that girl. They're trying, or they were getting ready to start trying. She's not already pregnant. They're getting ready to start trying, but it is. OP deleted her account. No! Candy Thunder, come on up. What you think here? This would be a deal breaker instantly. This would be a deal breaker for, I don't know. It's just.
I think, yeah, no, I agree. And you gave sound advice, making him present the details and saying, I hear what you're saying. Why are you saying it? And making him spell it out for you is the best way to get him to give a solid explanation for what he's asking. But to ask this of your partner already does damage to the relationship, especially if that partner is not on the same page. And also, people may disagree, but cheating in high school, not the same thing as cheating when you're 30 years and you're 6 years into marriage. That is a completely different ballgame. High school, you are figuring yourself out. You don't know what you're doing. Like, it's not great. Don't cheat. But that's a completely different animal. Like, they're very different things, in my opinion. And
yeah, well, there's a big difference between dating someone in high school and being married to them and getting ready to start having a child.
150%.
You cannot draw a parallel between that and say it's the same. It's just
and
not.
They're both 29 and 30. So this was over a decade ago. The cheating in high school was a decade ago. Like, why are you, if you're not forgiving someone for this, something that happened in high school over a decade ago, you should have never gotten married to that person, which leads me to believe that he already has someone that he wants to have sex with. Whether he wants a relationship with that person or he just wants to be with that person. He's got that person right here, ready to go. And he wants approval from his wife. And over my dead body would I ever give approval for that. Ever. One woman, that's it. That's all you get. And I am... That if that question, you would never. But if that
I would never.
If that question came out of my partner's mouth, I would be like, I would just look at them, stop washing dishes. He can do the dishes. And look at him and be like, you know what, honey? You go right ahead. And I'd go into the bedroom and I'd pull out my suitcase and I'd start packing my shit because I'm done.
Just asking the question is lighting the fuse that detonates that relationship.
Yeah, Candy doesn't share Dusty. That's right.
That's right. And Dusty doesn't share Candy.
Yeah. I mean, I would be like strangely calm. Like, but on the inside,
psychotically calm.
Calm.
Okay.
And I would be like, and then you would be scared for your life. That's what would happen. Sorry, I am a little crazy. I'll own it, 150%. You know it. Y'all know it. Y'all say it. Also, I think it's okay. Sometimes he set the tone for crazy. So if you want to respond and match that tone with crazy, if I'm quiet, run. That's exactly right.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
Quiet, run.
I'm fine. Yeah. I'm not. I don't say that. It's fine. Everything's fine.
I just can't imagine. I think he knew the risk of asking the question. Right?
You should be scared, Mary.
If he forgave her, he knew the risk of asking the question.
Yeah.
So he decided to light the fuse by asking that question, which means he's willing to risk your relationship, your marriage, over the prospect of getting to cheat.
I'm going to shout this from the rooftops. If you are in a happy, committed relationship, there is no other person's genitals that are worth destroying that relationship.
Yep.
If you communicate to your partner about something a need that's not being met open a line of communication, but there is no genital in this world that is worth throwing a healthy marriage away for. And I will...
There's a bumper sticker.
I will shout it from the rooftops, sing it from the...
There is no genital in this world that is worth throwing a healthy, happy relationship away for.
Was that the hilltop?
That was the hilltop.
Or rooftop? Hilltop?
Yeah, it was the hilltop. Yeah.
Shout it from the... I don't know what the saying is. Shout it from the rooftops or the hilltops. All the tops.
Both.
Shout it from the tops.
Yep. Just the tops.
Yep. I'd buy that bumper sticker. Your genitals suck. My husband's are better. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm going to go.
Candy Thunder, ladies and gentlemen. Hey there, it is Dusty Thunder with the best Redditor update for you. Let's go. Title of this one is, Am I the Astronaut for Demanding Back a Loaned Antique That Wasn't Supposed to Be a Gift? I, 45 female, have a dear friend, Lauren, 43 female. We grew up together and she was a bridesmaid at my wedding 20 years ago. Several years ago, my husband and I had a great opportunity to work and live abroad for a few years. It required that we sell our house and most of our belongings and put the rest in storage. One item I did not want to let go was a beautiful antique crystal lamp that belonged to my late grandmother. It holds many important memories for me. Unfortunately, our storage unit was so full that I was afraid I wouldn't be able to squeeze it in without giving up something else we wanted to keep. I mentioned this dilemma to Lauren, and she jumped in with an offer to hold on to the lamp for me. She said it would look gorgeous in her living room and she would be proud to display it there until we got back. I was thrilled. Well, our time abroad recently came to an end and we are now back in the U.S. We bought a new house, collected our belongings from storage, and are in the process of furnishing it. I asked Lauren for my lamp back and she got all pissy and said that she understood it was a gift. I reminded her that it was a family heirloom that she promised to keep for me until I got back, but she insists that's not how she remembers it. She said she adores this lamp, it's the focal point of her living room decor, and that if I demanded it back, our friendship would be over. Pfft, easy enough. Give me the lamp. I am heartbroken. She is one of my oldest friends, and while she can be quirky, she's never done anything like this before. I don't want to lose her friendship, but I also don't want to lose a treasured family heirloom. It's also worth quite a bit of money. It appraised at over $2,000. To be clear, I am 100% confident that I did not tell her it was hers to keep. Given our lifelong friendship, I thought it was safe to leave it with her. I can't even fathom why she thinks I gave it to her. We are not rich. I would never give a gift that expensive to anyone. To make matters worse, I told my sister about it all, and she hit the roof. That lamp holds memories for her too, and she was livid that it might be lost to our family. I've always intended to pass it down to my own daughter. So last week I told Lauren I wanted the lamp. She burst into tears and accused me of putting material things over friendship, but said she'd give it back, although she keeps coming up with excuses why she's been too busy to either bring it over or let me come by and get it. Now I'm wondering if she's right. Is a lifelong friendship more important than a lamp? Am I the astronaut for demanding it back, hurting Lauren's feelings, and making her feel like I don't care about our friendship? Before getting into the update here, OP, please realize that everything she is saying needs to be mirrored right back to her. She said you are putting material things over a friendship. Wasn't she the one that said if you demanded it back, your friendship was over? She said that, right? You asked for your lamp back, she refused, and you know why she refused, because she's had people come over and they love how it's the focal point. People love that lamp. People, every time they come over, it gets compliments, and now she's used to it, and now if it's gone, people are going to notice that it's gone, and she's going to be embarrassed because she doesn't have the bougie, beautiful thing that she always had before, and then she's going to have to be like, oh yeah, it was actually just loaned to me. It wasn't mine. She told people it was hers. That's what happened. She bought into her own bullshit, right? She knows. She knows you loaned it to her. She just doesn't want to give it back. But all these things where you're like, I feel so bad. Am I putting material things over friendships? No, she did. She said, if you want it back, our friendship is over. In no way, shape, or form did you say that. You said, give me back my lamp. And then you were put in this pickle of a position where she said, either keep your lifelong friendship or take back the lamp. Well, the friendship's already over because she put you in that position. It's over. It's already over.
Ooh, Bayfox. Oh no.
100% she doesn't have it anymore. She sold it. Oh no! How did I not see this? My lamp! My lamp! From the rooftops.
From the tops.
My lamp!
My sandwich.
She's like, funny thing, turns out I had a genie inside. Not that kind of lamp. Or broke it. Oh, no. Oh, no! Call the cops! Absolutely no one gives a shit about a lamp when they visit. If it was as bougie as it was, it's a $2,000 lamp. It was like it could be a thing, man. It could be a thing. And if it's the focal point of the room, like, she's probably got lights positioned to bounce off of it because it creates this light pattern around the room and shit. It's possible.
Only you do that.
It is possible.
Only you.
I am not the only person who points directional lights to achieve a specific lighting effect. That's how you use lights. Also, if you're somebody who's getting into photography or getting into video, learn lighting first. Just saying. You can somebody who understands good lighting can create a better image with a beginner camera than somebody who doesn't understand lighting with a bougie expensive camera. Learn lighting first. Just saying. All right, let's dive into the update here. But yeah, man, if you guys are right and she either doesn't have this or broke it, then that sucks. Ready? We ready for the update? I love lamp. Update. I got the lamp back.
Give me the lamp, boy. Don't do it, Al.
I want to thank everybody who commented for all the support. It helped me to see how I was allowing Lauren to manipulate me into believing that somehow I was in the wrong for wanting my lamp back. Early this morning, I drove to her house. It's Saturday, so I figured she'd be home, and she was. I could tell as soon as she opened the door that she knew why I was there, and yes, the lamp was there. Someone commented on a suggestion that I bring her a bottle of wine to thank her for caring for my lamp. I thought that was a great idea. Lauren does love wine. I brought her a very nice bottle that we brought back from abroad. I said, I'm sorry things have gotten tense between us, and I do value her friendship very much. I handed her the bottle and told her that this is a gift to say thank you for taking such good care of my grandma's lamp. I said, I'm sorry if there was any confusion about my intention in letting you hold on to it, but I think you know how important that heirloom is to me and my family, and I need to take it back. She kept saying she believed it was a gift. I stood my ground and said she's remembering it wrong. I reminded her it was a family heirloom. I said, think about this. To you, it's a pretty lamp. To me, it's a reminder of my departed grandma and all the wonderful time spent in her house with this lamp lighting up her living room. How could she argue with that? I didn't get angry. I remained calm but firm. In the end, she just threw her hands up and said, fine. And I unplugged the lamp, gave her a hug, and left. She was clearly upset, but I didn't stick around to see how she reacted. I don't know what's going to happen with our friendship. I will say I feel completely differently about her now, but if she is willing to move past this, so am I. Lifelong friends are hard to come by, and one dispute shouldn't end it. If we do move forward, I will know not to trust her with something like this again, but it's entirely possible I will never hear from her again. I don't plan on reaching out anytime soon. There were way too many comments for me to address them all, but I want to answer a few questions. First, I wasn't going to get the police involved. This is a civil matter, not criminal. Dollar amount wise, it's probably escalated to criminal, is it not? I know I had the option of small claims court, and I guess I would have if necessary. I have plenty of photos of that lamp in my other house and even in my grandma's living room. My sister lives in another state, so bringing her wasn't an option. My husband would have come with me, but I wanted to try to work this out between us. Yes, I should have gotten something in writing before we left, but it was a very chaotic time, and I just didn't think about anything but being grateful I didn't have to figure out how to squeeze the lamp into storage. Lesson learned. I don't care what she tells our mutual friends. If anyone asks me about it, I'll tell them the truth. Can we just take a second to appreciate, with the magic of a green flag, OP's emotional maturity here? Like, wow. I'd like to know wherever you visited abroad, because I'd like to go visit there too. Get some of the wisdom that you found there and bring it back. Because this was such an intelligent and smart and reserved way to handle all of this. And you're right. I mean, she still tried to argue with it after you said what you said. Something that should be impenetrable as far as an argument goes. And just threw her hands up. Fine. So she didn't sell it. She didn't break it. She still had it. I think she just really loved it. And I really do think that she didn't want to be embarrassed by people coming over and it not being there anymore. They'll be like, oh, what happened to your lamp? So now it could turn into a whole thing. Yeah, the fact that Opie had to unplug it is wild. I didn't even think about that part. It's like, whatever. She still had it lit up. She had it lit up when you walked in. She's like, it's effectively lighting the room right now. It's there. I see it. I see it. Angel drop of the $2 said, emotional maturity max level achieved. I am here for it. That is awesome. Faith reacts with a $5 super said, OP should have just let her sister hold on to the lamp. At least it would still be there in the family. Yeah, she just doesn't live close. So getting it to her was probably an option, but she could ship it, right? But she had a trusted lifelong friend that she thought she could trust with. And I really don't believe the friend's line about being convinced it was a gift. I think she just decided it was a gift at some point because she didn't want to give it back. That's it. She just didn't want to. Hey there, it is Dusty Thunder once again with another story for you. This one is, am I the astronaut for not giving a gift from my friend to his girlfriend? I, 20 female, have a friend, let's call him Josh, 20 male, who I have known most of my life. We've never dated or anything like that, at least on my end of the friendship. It's purely platonic. I think we know where this is going. For 2 years, he's been in a relationship with Heather, 20, and since they started dating, she and I have been really good friends, almost inseparable. I also have a boyfriend of 4 years, and we all hang out fairly often. When we were like 13, Josh had a phase where he was really into woodworking, and he made me a small wooden bowl. I keep it on my bathroom counter and put my earrings in it. I like it a lot, and it's a cute memento from my childhood. About a week ago, Heather and I were getting ready to go Christmas shopping. I was doing my makeup in the bathroom when she pointed out the bowl and asked where it came from. I'm guessing Josh mentioned it to her because the way she asked it was like she knew the answer. I don't know how else to describe it, but it was almost accusatory. Like she had just caught me doing something I shouldn't be doing. I told her it was from Josh when we were like 13. She told me, well, since he's my boyfriend, I think I should have it now. I told her no, that he made it for me when we were kids and I didn't want to give it away. Red flagging. Girly friend is insensitive? Insecure. If you can't handle like a lifelong friend having any kind of memento there, and it's not like she doesn't know you, OP. You guys are inseparable. You're like besties now. So she understands the friendship that you have with him. She understands. But thinking that anything that he's ever given anybody should now transfer to you is 100%, Chet, you nailed it. Delulu. I feel like I got my notes off there. It's Delulu. She started arguing with me about it, and I asked her to leave because I could not reason with her. Since then, I've tried to contact her, and she hasn't responded. I haven't tried to reach out to Josh at all because I feel like it just wouldn't be appropriate, and I don't know how much of this situation he knows about, if he agrees with her and anything else. My boyfriend agrees that I shouldn't have to give it to her, and of course he and Josh have talked, but not about this. It's just a very awkward situation, and I'm wondering, am I the astronaut for not giving my friend's girlfriend a gift that he made for me when we were young? No. No! 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 Where does this end? If she has the right as his current girlfriend to take anything he has ever given anybody, where does that end? Also, she has to understand that by enforcing that logic, she is putting everything she has ever received from him at risk if and when they break up. Better keep it all separated. Put it in a box to transfer over to the next girlfriend. Pretty soon, there's just a storage unit key that transfers from one girl to the next. It's like, here's everything he's ever given anyone. What? But the fact that she's accusatory here, and like she already knew the answer, means that it came up in conversation. And if it came up in conversation between her and her boyfriend, OP's friend, maybe either he thought it was weird that she kept it and he just never said anything, or maybe he just told her the story of making it and giving it to her. Maybe, I don't know. But it was a big enough deal to come up in conversation, which is how it transferred over to the awkward situation in her bathroom. And then OP has to ask her to leave because she won't shut up about it. No, you can't have my little wooden dish. I use that dish. That's my dish. My dish? Why is it like there is this like material totem, like pebbling kind of thing going on where people are filling all of these physical items with baggage and using them to take stands and make weird moves with relationships and friendships and like, what the f***? Just talk. Candy Thunder, if you were in a situation like this where you found out that a bestie of mine I had given something to when we were 13, you wouldn't feel threatened at all. You wouldn't feel like that should transfer ownership to you. This has to be just pure insecurity, right?
I want to see it.
Yeah, you'd be intrigued by it. You'd be like, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
You have a Dusty original.
An original Dusty.
Why would I want this?
I don't know.
It would be like claiming you as property.
I am your property. I got a tattoo on my butt that says property of Candy Thunder. I'm not showing them. I'm just telling them. What confuses me here, and help me out, chat, there's got to be something behind this. What confuses me is that these two had become besties, had become inseparable. How could she be this insecure about someone that she was this close with? How is that possible? I don't understand. Oh, it was a false bestiehood because she was insecure, so she wanted to be inseparable to make sure she was policing the connection.
It's like enemies closer.
Yeah, that's very sad. And that's just a bigger insight into if that is the case, and if they were inseparable because she was policing the connection and wanted to make sure she had overwatch on everything because of her insecurity. That's a great insight into how she lives her entire life. How hollow that must be. Like that, yeah, it was just the bowl. She got the bowl and then she broke up with the guy and now she has the bowl. She just really wanted this wooden bowl. It's like some kind of famous thing. This is, I think my sister was talking about this. We were talking about things that our dad has said in the past, and that was talking about dating. I don't know how we got here, but talking about dating, and it was dating is the show. Like behavior is never going to get better than it is when you're dating because they're putting on their best behavior for you. It's not. No, it's not, because you can grow, right? But I think for a relationship, like when you're dating, in the dating phase, there is this peacocking phase, right? Where you're trying to put your best foot forward and you're not letting your insecurities out, or you're not saying the things because you're trying to be much better behaved. Now, if you get into a serious relationship, I think that's where you can start improving and growing. But a general John Q. Public dating and relationship, I think the dating part of it is the show. That's where they're putting on the show. They're putting on a front. It's not all 100% authentic. I mean, for us it was, because maybe that's the exception. If you get to a point in life where you're like, I'm not doing the bullshit anymore, like this is me, take it or leave it, it's a different kind of situation. But as young people, as the youngins would do, Hey there, it is Dusty Thunder. I have a petty revenge story for you. Let's dive right in. This one will be fun. Title, Yell at Me in Front of Customers, Lose Your Job. The title had me thinking I had read something similar. It ain't the same. It ain't the same. This was about 28 years ago. Question for you. Should this be drama mode? All right. I just want to use it. Drama mode activated. This was about 28 years ago at age 16. I had my first job at Circuit City. Around the holidays, the prices for items would change, and it was someone's assigned job to go around and place the new price tags. One day I was helping a couple who were confused about a price tag on a brand new speaker. Now, I don't remember exactly how it went, but it was something like the tag read $1.99 and was supposed to be $199. Thinking back, if this were me, I would have bought all of them and called it a day, LOL, but they weren't scummy people and wanted to know what the actual price was. It was ringing in at $1.99, so I went and got the manager. Alongside the couple in the aisle, we all looked at the tags and he started screaming at me, "Are you stupid?" and had his pointy finger in my face while yelling. The couple left the store without purchasing anything, and my day went on being scolded by him. Even though it was not my fault that it was mislabeled, he made me feel like it was. I should have noticed it, and I must be so dumb. I took the abuse because I feared being fired from my first job, and it was right before Christmas. My next shift was a few days later, and I was immediately called into his office. I was having a panic attack. Here we go, I'm getting fired, I thought. Well, it turns out that the couple was so disgusted by his behavior that they called the company and complained. I sat in his office with a manager from another location while he apologized to me and then left. I later found out he lost his job. Petty revenge was from the couple's complaint about him, but I appreciated it nonetheless. Hey, what they did, they're good people. They're good people. They're good people. They're good people who did the right thing and saved someone from not lifetime maybe, but certainly like a period of time of hell. Everybody's had a boss like that too, right? Where it's like just abusing the power, just making people feel small because they feel small themselves, but they're supposed to be in charge and they want to use that power and just belittle people. But you think you'd be smart enough to not do that in front of customers. You would think, let this be a lesson to you. If you're gonna belittle people, don't do it in front of the customers, huh? Not in front of the customers. Agreed. DFHB approval. In the house. In the house. Hot Mess Express watching Dusty's faith in humanity be restored. It's like I'm glitching. Like, wait, people did the right thing. Does not compute. Does not compute. Yeah, Justin, $1.99 speakers. Bye. They passed up a hell of a deal, but then saved you. And how cool is that? Definitely missed the good old days of people being nice. Was there a good old day where people were nice? Oh, you mean where people would do something like this? Yeah. Hey, Dusty Thunder here, and I wanted to thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed that content, and if you did, please make sure to like, subscribe, and most importantly, share. Also, you can find swag and so much more at dusty-thunder.com, and you'll find even more content on all of our platforms. We're on TikTok, YouTube. We now have an official Facebook page that we'll be posting stories to as well. We have podcasts on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and so much more. You can see all of our content platforms on Linktree, which is linked in my bio. Engage with us wherever you're enjoying content and do your best to avoid the Askonauts today. Thanks again.